welcome to Auburn University and the Samuel Ginn College of Engineering. We're so very pleased to have you here today to join us to celebrate our manufacturing programs focused on additive manufacturing. We're just thrilled to have you here today. President Leith, thank you for joining us here today. We're also joined by Secretary Canfield from the state of Alabama, Secretary of the Department of Commerce, Senator Whatley is here in the front row, along with Representative Lovern. Thank you very much for joining us. I'd also like to acknowledge Todd May for joining us here. Todd, Director of the Marshall Space Flight Center, and Provost Hargrave is here. I saw my boss here somewhere in the room. And Vice President for Research, Jennifer Kerpelman. Jennifer, thanks for joining us here today. We started a very strong emphasis in additive manufacturing dating back to just prior to 2012, which originated with our discussions with our many friends in the city of Auburn, with Philip Dunlop and others, and with GE Aviation, and the discussions about their moving a facility right here into Auburn focused on additive manufacturing. At that time, I had just started as the Dean of Engineering, and I had asked one of our senior and very distinguished professors, Tony Overfeld, to take the lead in helping us get our additive manufacturing initiatives off the ground. And Tony, I see him here. Thank you, Tony. You really started quite a landslide here with this work. Since that time, we've invested more than $8 million in additive manufacturing equipment and facilities, using both internal and external grants and contracts funds. We've also hired several new faculty members, and we have today within this college over 20 researchers working on additive manufacturing who've been able to secure several $1 million in extramural grants to support these efforts. And soon we'll be moving into our new additive manufacturing activities to a newly renovated Gavin Engineering Research Laboratory, which is a $20 million investment that we've made into top flight research facilities for these manufacturing efforts. So if you fast forward from 2012 to 2018, and through the power of partnerships and the leadership now of Dr. Nima Shamseh, who's our new director of our additive manufacturing efforts in the college, we stand here today celebrating 2 national and international designations for our additive manufacturing programs. Today, we will hear from President Stephen Leith, the President of Auburn University, Todd May, the Director of the Marshall Space Flight Center, Catherine Morgan, the President of ASTM International, and from our partners in EWI, Alex Kidd, and the Manufacturing Technology Center from the United Kingdom, Ben Dutton, to sign 2 different agreements to solidify our partnerships in these new centers. And so I'll walk us through today the logistics of having these signed, and then we'll also have some special remarks at the end of this program from Secretary Canfield. So at this point, it is my distinct honor to now welcome to the podium Auburn University's 19th President, Dr. Stephen Leith.
Thanks, Chris. It's a real pleasure for me to be here today. As many of you know, I love research and scholarship, so when I get to participate in an event like today and see what the great things are that Auburn's doing, it's really, really exciting. I want to start by not only thanking Chris, but thanking Todd May, who we've got to share some common ground over the last year. Catherine Morgan, Alex Kidd, and Ben Dutton, our primary partners here, and also special shout out to John Vicker there who helped shepherd this whole thing along. So thank you, John. It's a pleasure for me to not only see what we're doing, but to actually formalize this partnership. When I got here, I talked about making Auburn a partnership university in a newer and higher level than we've ever been before. So to see these things coming to fruition is really exciting, and I hope Secretary Canfield is here with us today. We'll see this. We've got an Alabama man wearing an Auburn tie today. This really does my heart good. But in all seriousness, I think as he represents the state, it's important for you to see the things Auburn's doing to move this great state forward. So again, all of our collaborators We've got two local representatives, Senator Watley right here in the front, and just nearby, Joe Lover, and our representative. We appreciate all the support we get from the two of you in the legislature. For those of you who don't know, Auburn University had an exceptionally good year. The legislature was very generous to the university at a time when many universities are not seeing increases in higher education funding. We did. These two gentlemen in the front row deserve some special thanks. So I would appreciate it when the program ends if you would thank them on behalf of Auburn University. Thanks, guys, for all you did for us. Now, recently, I outlined a plan for Auburn as part of my formal installation where I stressed the need for us to inspire, innovate, and transform if we're really going to move the university and the state forward in a way that we can all be proud of. And this additive manufacturing partnerships that we celebrate today, to me, exemplifies what I was trying to drive home when I gave that address. The research conducted in additive manufacturing ought to be inspiring all of us, but especially the next generation of engineers, scientists, and especially students coming through these programs. These are the kinds of programs that are going to solve the great challenges of the future. Frankly, the easy ones are solved. These hard ones are the ones we need to be working on. And the fact that we can't solve it alone and our partners can't solve it alone is what makes this really special. These are the kinds of things that we ought to be doing to really move society forward. These innovative things that really transform the way we live and work in the future. Now, my friends at NASA were way smarter than me, and I'll include my little brother in that too, because he's way smarter than me. But they tell me there's still a lot we don't know about the fundamental physics behind additive manufacturing. But I would say, as a university president and former research scientist, that's okay, because that's really what this is about. It's about us solving the crucial problems and figuring these things out together if we're really going to promote the progress of science and engineering in general, and this field in particular. We're always going to have new science challenges and new problems we confront, but if we work together, we've got a lot of smart people here, we'll get these things figured out. If you think where we've come in the last 100 years, it's hard to even imagine where we'll be 100 years from now. I'll show you that we're hard at work here. Our partners are hard at work. We're doing groundbreaking researches in engineering as well as a lot of fields. I think you'll see the tremendous facilities here. More importantly, you'll see the tremendous people and the leadership here that are really pushing these things forward. I couldn't be happier with what's going on here. I will say, though, that all our science and scholarship is not limited to engineering. In fact, we recently had a large new program here, which we call the Presidential Awards for Interdisciplinary Research, that spanned all fields. And when you think about the competition we had, over 100 proposals from all fields, it is neat to say that one of the two most highly funded projects out of that program was under the direction of Dr. Sham Saeed on additive manufacturing. So you folks ought to take some pride in the fact that of all that competition, this field and that project was one of the most highly funded. And I'm fairly confident under his leadership with this program, with this partnership, the folks from engineering, from pharmacy, from vet med, from business are going to put together a consortium that's really going to move this whole field forward. And I think that for our partners, that's exactly what you came here to see done, this multidisciplinary research effort to make great advances. When I came here, I really wanted to harness Auburn's research powers in some different ways, and specifically I addressed our partnership desires with government, with industry, within the universities, and that's exactly what we're doing here. So to the Dean, I say thank you and your team for really taking the leadership effort and showing the rest of the university what could be done in these kind of partnerships. For you, we've already grown to over 50 partners. That's pretty amazing. This is kind of in its infancy in a way, and the interest, enthusiasm, the belief in this program is there. This is going to be hugely important for us and everybody who's involved. So to our long-term friends at NASA, our newer colleagues at ASTM, EWI, the Manufacturing Technology Center, I want to say thank you for believing in us and partnering with us to move this forward. Chris, I'll turn it back over to you, and thanks, folks.
It's now my distinct pleasure to invite Todd May to the podium. I'm proud to note that Todd is an Auburn engineering graduate and is now the director of the Marshall Space Flight Center at NASA. So Todd, I'm going to hand you the floor.
Thank you, Dean Roberts. Hey, so I just want to thank you all for having me today. It's great to be here. I do want to point out that Auburn has always been part of NASA's space program, part of the great history and heritage that is the United States space program. From as early as the Apollo program, engineers, folks that went to the moon, astronauts, scientists, on to Hubble, the Space Shuttle propulsion elements, the International Space Station, and now the Space Launch System. There's been a pipeline of talent that has come through this university and propelled NASA forward in everything that we do. And in the last few years, Auburn and Marshall have gotten together to expand that effort into a new technology, additive manufacturing. And today we are recognizing that partnership and those who made it happen. From the leadership of Dr. Leith and the vision, to the energy, drive, and strategy, Dean Roberts, you and Steve Taylor, and to the blocking and tackling of folks like Mike Ogles. And then, of course, John Vickers, NASA's principal technologist, who we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for John and his ability to pull all these folks together. And to Nima, with his technical expertise now to take it into implementation. I thought it would be interesting, the guy who helped me think about what I wanted to say today, John Sutherland, gave me this 1982 Auburn football program. And to illustrate my point about Auburn and space, what's really unique about this particular program, other than it's also got Bo Jackson and Jay Jacobs as a player sitting next to Little Train in the thing, is that Hank Hartsfield and T.K. Mattingly are on the cover. And this is the day that really NASA was represented by Auburn. They were the two folks on STS-4 that day. It was the fourth flight of the Columbia and the fourth in a row of Columbia. But the words that were said on here is Godspeed and War Eagle. And the lesser known story is that was the quote of the director of Kennedy Space Center of 7 years, Richard Smith, who was also an Auburn graduate. It's also the only time a sitting president and the First Lady met the shuttle when it landed. It landed actually out of Edwards Air Force Base, and the president referenced Sons of Auburn in the space program. So it's also interesting to me because my grandfather grew up on Gay Street here as a kid and told me that he used to play marbles on the president's steps when he was a kid. He never went to college because he went to fight war in World War II and eventually became a full bird colonel and retired out of Maxwell Air Force Base flying P-51s over 200 missions. But when he retired, he bought a big Cadillac and a convertible, lived down in Gulf Shores, and he would take every one of us grandchildren up to the games. And this is actually the first year that he started bringing me to Auburn football games, and so I imagine that this had something to do with me ending up here and becoming a materials engineer here at Auburn and probably getting into the space program. But back to our purpose today, I will say that one of the unique things about NASA is that we have a lot of astronauts walking around. And astronauts have a really unique perspective. They fly around the Earth or they fly out into deep space and they look back down, and what they don't see is borders. What they see is an ecosystem. And they see really how we all work together. And they see that it's not about what separates us, it's what brings us together. And when I look at that chart over there and I see all those different logos, what I see is a partnership that's come together for a greater purpose. And that's really what we do at NASA. We partner with industry, with government, with academia, with international partners. And what's really neat about this event we have here today, we have all of those things. We have industry, we have government, we have academia, we have international partners, we have government representatives who've all come together to make this happen. And of course at NASA we know we need this ecosystem, and part of that deal is the talent pipeline. And so this program is actually going to help us because we need this technology. If we're going to make it to Moon and to Mars in particular, we need additive manufacturing. We need it to lower the cost of our rockets, and we need it to be able to make the parts because we don't have a logistics pipeline when you're traveling 210 million miles away and you're going to be gone for a couple of years. You got to be able to make the parts. And our goals are best achieved at Auburn and the other universities in Alabama and the rest of the country, and industry and ASTM are all part of it. Let me just close by saying the road to the moon and beyond goes through Auburn. Godspeed and War Eagle.
Todd, thank you very much. Right now, what we'd like to do is take a little break in the presented comments and ask both Todd May and President Leith to come forward. And we're going to sign an agreement, a proclamation for the establishment of the National Center for Additive Manufacturing Excellence between NASA, Marshall, or NASA, I should say, and Auburn University. Anyone that would like photographs of this, please make your way.
I want to keep this pen, Dean Ryder. I've never seen one of these.
So until Friday, I just need to know if it costs less than $20.
For those of you that can't see, this pen is an Auburn engineering pen. It's a level measuring device, and I'm not sure what else it has.
The name says keep it.
Uh-oh. The end fell off my house. It's a screwdriver.
It's a screwdriver as well.
It's a screwdriver as well.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. This ceremony symbolizes the formality of forming this National Center of Excellence, and I thank you both very much. In addition, today we're going to have a second agreement that we're going to present here in just a few minutes, and that is an agreement in the establishment of the ASTM International Additive Manufacturing Center of Excellence, where the Auburn-NASA partnership competed and was selected along with EWI and MTC to create this new ASTM International Center. And so to provide some remarks with regard to this program and this now blossoming of our relationships, I'd like to ask Ms. Catherine Morgan, President of ASTM International, to please come forward.
Thank you so much, President Leith, Dean Roberts, and Director May, for your comments. And congratulations to Auburn and to NASA for being a key part of not one, but two centers of excellence. This is a very, very exciting day for ASTM International. We're thrilled to have both of you as partners, along with EWI and the Manufacturing Technology Center in the United Kingdom. I also want to take a moment to thank and to recognize those that are on our new advisory board and our research and development committee that met earlier today. There was much enthusiasm and spirited discussion. And I want to thank those that are going to be serving tomorrow on the new Education and Workforce Development Committee. You know, selecting our 4 partners for our Center of Excellence was the result of a very robust and competitive process that involved dozens of high-quality proposals from around the globe. And the result is very clear. We have a world-class team in place that is going to drive research and development, standardization, and innovation in additive manufacturing for many years to come. In my first 18 months as president, I've met with experts in fields like additive manufacturing, as well as other innovative areas that ASTM is involved with, like drones and response robots. One of my responsibilities as president of ASTM International is to send a very clear signal to industry stakeholders that ASTM stands ready to serve as your partner in cutting-edge industries, as we have in very traditional industries for 120 years now. Without a doubt, though, our most successful model to date in fostering such partnerships is the work that we have done recently in additive manufacturing. We formed the Additive Manufacturing Committee about a decade ago when additive manufacturing was really just starting to gain traction. And that group now is 600 members strong from around the globe with many groundbreaking standards that have been published with input from experts that are in this room. Shortly after the group formed, we signed an MOU with the Society of Manufacturing Engineers. And then we took an unprecedented step and signed what's called a Partner Standards Developing Organization Agreement with the International Organization for Standardization, ISO. And I had the distinct pleasure to sit down with the ISO Secretary General last week in Geneva, just a week ago, and talk about the positive impacts that the ASTM-ISO partnership has had. Later, we added an MOU with America Makes, represented here today by Ralph Resnick. And more recently, we supported the American Makes and the American National Standards Institute Additive Manufacturing Standards Collaborative. And then, of course, we were very, very fortunate to hire Dr. Mohsen Saifi as our Global Additive Manufacturing Programs Director. So today, I'm thrilled to be signing an agreement to launch ASTM International's first Center of Excellence ever in any technical area. As many of you know, the center is going to support standards-related research at places like the Ginn College of Engineering, EWI, and MTC, and it won't stop there. For example, we'll be supporting education and training that tomorrow's workers are going to need in additive manufacturing. And ASTM will provide new services that are needed in areas like certification, in proficiency testing, and in training. The fact is, we all know the marketplace is very hungry for the technical information and the tools that this center is designed to deliver. And based on just the discussion I heard today, I'm absolutely confident that this center will deliver all of this and much more. You may have noticed that ASTM International is focusing much more on innovation. In fact, it's the theme of our July-August publication of Standardization News, and I believe there's copies somewhere, perhaps on the back table, if you'd like to take one as you exit. You may wonder, why is a standards developer concerned with innovation? Well, first and foremost, pushing the envelope is something that's part of ASTM's DNA. We're known as one of the world's leading standards development organizations, and we're proud to take very bold steps when we see a societal need. In the case of additive manufacturing, we know this field has tremendous potential to make cars and planes faster, to strengthen our military, to change the lives of patients who need custom implants, and much more. And we're proud to be part of advances like that. Just as importantly, standards developers simply must become more innovation-driven. In the past, standards always followed innovation. But today, we encourage the standards and the innovation communities to work in tandem to make sure that we have the fastest and smoothest paths to commercialization. For example, standards development is a crucial aspect of the growing number of innovation initiatives and institutes that we see from governments, both here in the US and also in Europe, both of whom are represented here today, as well as elsewhere. For these reasons, ASTM is really positioning itself to be a strong innovation leader of and for the standards community. We're engaging manufacturers, universities, government agencies, and other stakeholders as early as possible when we see research and development in an area starting to take root. We're helping industries understand the standardization landscape and where we can work together to fill important gaps. And we're making sure that everyone has a voice, that everyone has a seat at the standards development table, whether you're a small and medium-sized enterprise or a multinational, and everyone in between. And we're showing these industries that standards development organizations like ASTM are actually more nimble and more agile than we've ever been. So I'm very excited to be here today. We've taken many steps in regards to our work, but we have much further to go. And I know the Center of Excellence is going to just blaze the way forward like never before. And we're truly grateful for the wonderful partners that we have. So once again, thank you to Auburn for hosting us today, President Leith, Dean Roberts, and to Dr. Shamsay. We appreciate all you've done to bring us to this point. And I also want to thank our partners from EWI and MTC. Thank you.
Could I now ask Mr. Alex Kidd, Product Manager at EWI Manufacturing Works, and Ben Dutton from Manufacturing Technology Center in the UK to please come forward and make a few marks as our partners.
So I'd like to start by admitting I don't have an Auburn University tie. I decided not to take a risk and I just went tieless. But after 2 trips to Auburn in the last 6 months, I'm committed to getting one. The comments President Leith mentioned on partnership have really shown through. Every time I've come down here, Nima and the Auburn team has really shown what it means to be a good partner, pushing something together collaboratively to make a real impact. So very happy to be here and speaking on this auspicious occasion, signing 2 documents in one day. As a nonprofit, mission-driven organization dedicated to manufacturing innovation, EWI is continually looking for ways to make wider economic impact. As such, EWI is passionate about this center and honored to be a founding partner of it. For the last 7 years, EWI has been helping companies adopt metal AM by advancing the technology. We've invested more than $10 million in the technology. We have all 7 AM process types represented. We run a pre-competitive consortia with more than 40 industry representatives. But with all of that, we primarily do work one-to-one with customers. What we see from this center is a new way to make economic impact globally. And I think this all comes from ASTM's vision and the description Kathy gave earlier. This is a real opportunity to use the technology expertise that EWI has developed, Auburn has developed, and MTC have developed to push standards forward and enable the community to do better as a whole. EWI's participation as the program manager for U.S. Industry Consortia is moving along very rapidly, and we're excited to be announcing our first meeting this week in Boston. We're also looking forward to leveraging our technical expertise on the R&D projects the center pushes forward. I'd like to thank one more time the great partnership that we've seen from ASTM, MTC bringing such leadership as a European powerhouse, coming here to Auburn to be partners with us, and as I mentioned, Auburn University. So, thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity to give our thoughts, and we are very excited to be part of this as an international committee, basically, and it's a great honor, but it's also great to see that this is becoming an international effort, basically. I personally have been involved in developing standards, and I've always seen, and I have always tried to avoid duplication. This is a great opportunity to not just avoid duplication, but bring the best people to work together, basically. So, like I said, we're very excited to be part of it, and I know we're not going to be the only one international or outside of US members soon. So, but it's great to be the first and see that we managed to get there, basically. And yeah, so we are also very keen to give our full support for this to be a great success. Thank you.
So to sign this formal agreement, could I ask President Leith, on behalf of Auburn University, Ms. Morgan, Mr. Kitt, and Mr. Dutton, to please come forward, and we'll have a formal signing ceremony.
we synchronized?
July 23rd.
Thank you.
Today's my son's birthday.
To him.
I have that.
Of course, I'm the slowest.
To the right or to the
I did it, you could
We'll go this way. Look how we do this. Okay.
Now I'm tempted to sign underneath, which is
Okay,
This is standardized. Okay. Okay, one more time.
sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
I now get to welcome to the stage someone who I think is a great champion of progress. It's somebody that I've gotten to know traveling a little bit together and watching him in action, trying to make sure that we're moving this state forward. And so I'd like to invite Secretary Canfield to the podium, please.
Well, thank you, Chris. It's great to be here at Auburn University. Dr. Leith, it's great to finally get a chance to meet you somewhere other than on social media. And I think I look pretty damn good at it.
You look real good.
Todd May, it is always great to see you, and thank you for the great work that the Marshall Space Flight Center does for NASA. You have brought so much to the state of Alabama in terms of the vision of the future, and that vision just continues to improve as time moves forward. And so I'm glad to see you here as well. I think that this opportunity with the Manufacturing Technical Center, EWI, ASTM, really is an opportunity for Alabama to take, once again, a real leadership role in the future and to grab hold of a technology that is still in the process of being defined, not just in the United States, but around the globe. We just came back from the UK, the Farnborough International Air Show. Governor Ivey and I and about 102 Alabamians made a great showing in Farnborough to help project an image of the state of Alabama, to tell the world that Alabama is an aerospace state, and that we are, in addition to aerospace, we are a state positioning itself to be a leader in research, advanced manufacturing, and technology that supports not just aerospace, but can support many other industry sectors in the Advanced Manufacturing Center as we look at our future. We brought Made in Alabama as the new brand of the state of Alabama in 2013. The Made in Alabama brand is designed to help us project a new image, a true image of Alabama, and the partnerships that exist between the private sector, the public sector, our research universities, and I'm here to say that Made in Auburn is really taking on an incredibly important meaning across the state. I am very proud to have the opportunity to be here for this event. This Additive Manufacturing Center of Excellence ×2 is really charting new ground. And that's what we really want to be about across the state of Alabama, is a state that is looking to the future, a state that is setting new goals and new aspirations. We have a new generation in Alabama of young people who are aspiring to be more, aspiring to contribute to humankind. And it is programs like this and universities like Auburn University that are help meeting those dreams and help bring those visions to reality. It's an honor to be a small part of that. And so, Dr. Leith, to you and to Dr. Roberts and to everyone else here, congratulations. War Eagle. And may the great state of Alabama continue to move forward and project itself as the true leader in industry, innovation, research, and technology that we all know we are and will be into the future. Thank you.
To further illustrate the support that we've received in the state, I'd like to ask a couple of individuals to come forward. I'd like to ask Senator Whatley and Representative Lovern to present two resolutions that passed through the state Senate and the state House. And I'd like to ask two of my colleagues, Nima Shamseh and Tony Overfeld, to please come forward and receive these resolutions on behalf of our efforts.
Thank you very much. And when I first saw this technology a few years ago, I had a hashtag for it. Hashtag nothing short of magic. Now we can add. That's absolutely what it is. And now we can add not only that, but the hashtag magic, hashtag made in Auburn. And Director, when you spoke about logistics a few minutes ago, it just a logistics pipeline that can resupply itself is amazing. Because wars, campaigns, business and industry initiatives they succeed on logistics. And that's exactly what we're doing right here at Auburn. And I know myself, and I'm sure Joe, will continue to fight for the funding necessary for additive manufacturing and for other things here at Auburn University so that Auburn University can continue to work wonders. So, War Eagle.
Thanks, Senator Whatley, and thank you for having us here today. I tell you, as representing districts like we do, we're truly the salesmen and negotiators when it comes to the funding and the things that we need as far as the state. And Auburn is continuing to be an easy sell. And lots of times I tell people, my and Tom's job is to not mess up what we have going. So it's great that we can report these things that we have going forward and the innovations we have. I tell people a lot of times when there's things that people dream about across the world, the research and hard work at Auburn University is what makes it real and what makes it happen. And on a personal note, a father of a 10-year-old just finished engineering camp here at Auburn earlier this year and dreams about going to Mars one day. Asked me this week, where did he need to go to learn more about the technology and the things that he needs to know to be able to go to Mars. And I can report at home tonight that he doesn't have to go far at all. He can stay right here at home. So thank you for the staff here. Thank you for Dean Roberts for your leadership. Thank you for all the partners that have partnered with this. And I'm glad that going forward I'll continue to be able to report good things for Auburn and keep some funding going for the things we need here. Thank you all, and War Eagle. War Eagle.
finishing our program is a bit of a personal indulgence. I really want to thank the faculty in the Samuel Gant College of Engineering. In particular, I'd like to thank Nima, Shamsay, Tony Overfelt, Bart Prorock, Scott Thompson, Zhao Yuan Liu, Mike Ogles, and many others for helping us in our efforts in this area. I'd also like to recognize the strong support of the Huntsville Research Center, the Auburn University Huntsville Research Center. Rodney and Rod, thank you very much for all of your efforts. And of course, John Vickers from NASA and most of the CEPI from ASTM. You all did a lot of heavy lifting to get us to where we are today. I'd also like to thank our college's staff, Angie Lemke and Heather Connor, for putting this program and the food we're about to enjoy here together for us, as well as Jim Killian and his team from our communications efforts. I'd like to invite you all now to join us for a reception where we'll sit down for just a minute and enjoy each other's company. And a few minutes into the program, about 10 minutes in, we have some advisory board members for this new Center of Excellence that's been formed with ASTM. And while we're having a little bit of social time, I think Steve's going to coordinate just a couple of comments from each so that we know who's spending time with us and who's traveled so very far to be with us here today. So please join us for our reception. Thank you.